ask literally any F1 fan right now if George Russell is actually good and watch the group chat and glow. Half of them will tell you he's a top 5 driver on the grid, but other half will send you a clip of Antonelli lapping him in real time and just leave it there. No caption needed. And look, I get it. When your teenage teammate is out here collecting race wins like Pokemon cards, you're still trying to finish top 5 elite driver is not the first race that comes to mind. But here's the thing. Before you fully commit to the he's washed take, you have to actually look at what's happened to this man in 2026. Because some of it is embarrassing and some of it is genuinely one of the luckiest stretches I've ever seen in a driver in years. Both of those things are true at the same time, and untangling them is basically the whole video. So let's dive into it. Because before we talk about 2026, we need to talk about how absurd this man's junior career actually was. Karting world champion, GP3 champion, then F2, a category where most drivers spend 2 or 3 seasons just trying not to embarrass themselves. And Russell wins the whole championship in year 1. Like, that doesn't happen. Drivers who do that don't become punchlines, they become world champions. Look at Lewis Hamilton, he won it in his first year. And Mercedes didn't just quietly admire this from a distance, they restructured their entire driver pipeline in his name. The most dominant team in the sport's modern history around one guy. Brought him in as a junior and reserve drivers year before there was even a seat for him. And when the seat did open up, he wasn't eased in gently. He was put directly next to Lewis Hamilton, the Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, and the plan was basically throw the rookie in next to the greatest of all time and see what happens. Fun fact, Russell is one of only a handful of the drivers in the last decade Mercedes trusted enough to fast track like that. This was never internet hype. This was the biggest team in Formula 1 betting the house on him. So, naturally, the next chapter should be the big breakout, right? Instead, Mercedes parks him at Williams for 3 seasons, a team that at that time had negative aerodynamic self-esteem and finishes races mostly out of habit. Normally, this is exactly where hype quietly dies. Bad car, bad results, everyone moves on. Instead, Russell does the opposite, dragging results out of that car that had no business existing. Points where there shouldn't have been points. Genuine podium adjacent chaos at Spa. Qualifying laps that made rival engineers do a double take. Somewhere in that Williams garage, the myth just kept growing. Imagine what this guy does in an actual car. And yes, we all remember Imola 2021 too, a big coming together with a certain Finnish driver called Valtteri Bottas. Some very passionate post-race words exchanged trackside. We are not replaying the whole tape here, but let's just say George has always had main character energy for better and worse. So that's the version of Russell that walked into Mercedes full-time, not hype receipts. Which brings us to now. The good car finally arrives, and so does the problem, and it comes fast. His teammate is Kimi Antonelli, 19, rookie, and this season he doesn't just settle in. He goes on a 5-race win streak. For a rookie, that's a sporting equivalent of showing up on day 1 and immediately being handed the keys to the building. By the time we hit the summer break, Antonelli's sitting on top of the championship with the commanding points cushion over Russell. Even after Russell clawed back with a win in Austria, then it gets worse before it gets better. Monaco. Russell's in position for a real result on the most prestigious circuit on the calendar, and it just unravels. A penalty, race chaos. He tumbles backward through the field, cameras catch him after, and he doesn't hide it, visibly saying he's beyond frustrated, struggling to explain the season he's having. Then Canada, he's leading the race, and the car just dies underneath him mid-race. 0 points from a win. He was about to bank. Then Japan. A safety car appears at exactly the wrong moment and deletes an entire strategy that had him set up for a big result. Russell himself said it. He's had bad races before, sure. 2 or 3 in a row like anyone does. He's never had a stretch this specifically cursed. So here's the uncomfortable bit sitting right in the middle of this season. A real chunk of that points gap isn't driver error. It's mechanical failures and safety cars showing up like an uninvited plot twist. But from a standing stable, bad luck and getting outclassed looks identical. Same 0, completely different cause, which is exactly why mid becomes the meme this year, fair or not. So let's analyze it. Like, is Russell actually a mid driver or not? So, test 1. Raw piece. Russell sits right there in qualifying most weekends. This isn't a driver who's lost his edge. I mean, he is used to being called as Mr. Saturday. Now, test 2. Luck exposure. Canada and Japan alone are worth a probable win and a probable podium on paper. both erased by things that had nothing to do with his driving. So I mean, he's not good that good in the luck part of the things. Test 3, and this is the one people conveniently skip, the Antonelli effect. Getting outpaced by a rookie on a 5-race win streak doesn't prove you are average. It proves your teammate might be a generational unicorn. I mean, like Toto Wolff have hit that out of the park. Nobody looks great standing next to a supernova. Test 4, and honestly the real tell. How does he respond when it's going wrong? After his lowest point of the season, he didn't fold. He came back and won in Austria, blowing points straight back off the championship leader. That's not a plateau driver, that's a guy still actively fighting for a title he clearly believes is his. So, the final verdict. Is George Russell mid, or is he just the unluckiest driver in a decade, paired with a phenomena cursed by mechanics and somehow still winning races anyway? My opinion is the championship have still got many races left, and I think Russell will came back with a fight. Now, the narrative can flip either way. If Russell claws it back, the video ages like it is written off too early take. If he doesn't, it becomes the case study for why potential and results are never the same thing. Either way, the mid-level says a lot more about how brutal Formula 1's judgment can be than it says about George Russell. If you are feeling the heat, then you should come out of the kitchen. If you think George deserves a bit more patience before the internet fully memes him into oblivion, drop your verdict in the comments. Mid, cursed, or outclassed by an actual alien rookie. And subscribe because we are tracking this title fight all the way to the checkered flag. Thank you.